Hello guys, welcome back to another video. In today's video, I'll be talking about autoimmune diseases. I'll explain what autoimmune diseases are. I'll explain the causes and the possible treatments. So the immune system consists of many different types of specialized cells that work in collaboration to protect the body against foreign pathogens. These cells consist of natural killer cells or NK cells, B cells, macrophages, lymphocytes, monocytes, etc., just to name a few. But an autoimmune disease occurs when one of those immune cells that I just mentioned fails to distinguish between the body cells and a foreign pathogen. And what I think is fascinating is the process of an immune cell destroying a pathogen. How it works is you have something called an antibody. The antibody binds to the antigen on the surface of the pathogen. When the antibody binds to the antigen, it targets that pathogen for cellular destruction. So once the antibody binds to the antigen, what it does, it recruits many different types of immune cells to destroy that pathogen. The exact causes of autoimmune diseases are idiopathic, meaning the origin of autoimmune diseases are unknown. But autoimmune diseases do involve hormonal, genetic, and immunological factors. So genetic predispositions, there are genes that increase your risk of developing autoimmune diseases. For example, there's a gene called the HLA gene. The HLA gene increases your chances of developing the ankylosing spondylitis inflammatory disease. Now, what is the ankylosing spondylitis inflammatory disease? Well, the ankylosing spondylitis inflammatory disease primarily affects the spine. And over time, it affects the quality and the characteristics of the spine, making it less flexible. Now, there's also a hormonal aspect to the development of autoimmune diseases. Did you know that some hormones, specifically sex hormones, activate and suppress the immune system? For example, hormones like progesterone, cortisol, and testosterone suppress the immune system, while hormones like estrogen and prolactin stimulate the immune system. So if you have a condition where you're experiencing a hormonal imbalance, this will definitely cause any pre-existing autoimmune disorders to exacerbate or get worse. And also, this is why you tend to see more women with autoimmune diseases than males. So keep in mind that there's also a hormonal aspect to the development of autoimmune diseases. There are also environmental factors that increase your risk of developing autoimmune diseases. Things like diet. Individuals with celiac disease can't eat gluten. If an individual with celiac disease eats gluten, this will trigger an immune response from the immune cells in the small intestine. This will cause the immune cells within the small intestine to eat away at the lining of the small intestine. Another environmental factor is toxins. Exposure to certain drugs or chemicals can increase your chances of developing an autoimmune disease. Things like antibiotics. Antibiotics can also trigger a response within the immune cells within your body. So be careful of what antibiotics and drugs you're taking. Another one is infections. Some pathogens may trigger a process called molecular mimicry. So when a pathogen enters the body, the pathogens may mimic the characteristics and the structures of your body cells. The antibodies or the immune cells will bind to your body cells, thinking it's a pathogen. This process is called molecular mimicry. So keep in mind there are also environmental factors that play a role in autoimmune diseases. Now, there are many types of drugs like anti-inflammatory drugs and immunosuppressants that can help treat autoimmune diseases. But I'm going to teach you how to treat autoimmune diseases the holistic way. Now, I'm not a doctor, so I'm not telling you to stop taking your medications. Now, the first thing you want to do is avoid all pro-inflammatory foods. Pro-inflammatory foods include sugar, gluten, alcohol, fried foods, etc. These are all foods that trigger a response from the immune system. So by simply cutting out all pro-inflammatory foods, the symptoms that accompany autoimmune diseases will subside. So the next thing you want to do is avoid environmental triggers. I would highly recommend using natural cleaning and personal care products. Filter your drinking water. Drinking water has lots of different chemicals and heavy metals that cause an immune response. Avoid heating plastic. Heating plastic, because when you heat plastic, the micro components within the plastic seep into the food. You eat the food, and it causes a immune response. And be cautious of certain seafood because lots of seafood has mercury, and mercury can definitely trigger the immune system. Next thing you want to do is support your gut health. So I recommend taking probiotics as well as eating fermented foods, because these are things that strengthen the small intestine. And one thing to keep in mind is a lot of immune cells reside within the small intestine. So it makes sense to strengthen your gut if most of your immune cells reside within the small intestine. Now, exercise. I highly recommend you to engage in light to moderate exercise if you have an autoimmune disease. Things like swimming, rowing, walking. These are all light to moderate styles of training. Try not to work out too intensely, because that can trigger the immune system if you work out at a high intensity. So engage in light to moderate exercise so that it can strengthen your immune system. So guys, that concludes the video. If you're an individual with an autoimmune disease, please reach out to me. Me and my team will try our best to help treat your autoimmune diseases. Like I said, I am not a doctor, but what I do is I specialize in helping people treat their illnesses the natural way. And we provide our clients with a plan to follow, with the goal to eventually eradicate and eliminate their metabolic illness. So guys, if you found that video helpful, leave a comment, share this video with someone who can use it, and hit the like button.